What's going on, guys? Chameleon here. Today I'm going to show you the best class setups for the king of all SMGs in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the MP5. It has dominated the SMG category for a while now, and they've attempted to introduce many competitors. There are some alternatives now to use, such as the MP7, the Fennec, and so on, but even after multiple nerfs to the MP5, it is still the king of SMGs. It's even commonly used by the pros in competitive gaming, and for good reason too, because it absolutely shreds in close quarters at 800 rounds per minute. I actually made a video on this gun a while back, but there have been so many changes since then with patches and updates that I figured it was time to make an updated class setup video for you guys, especially since I get asked about my class setups a lot during my live streams, and this will be the easier way to show you guys exactly what I use. Do you guys think Dragon's Breath on the R90 needs to be nerfed? Leave me a comment below. But real quick before we start, please smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on, and here we go, let's do this. First up, we have the muzzle and the barrel. I'm starting off by settling the debate once and for all. For a long time now, there's been a lot of back and forth as to which is better to use, the monolithic suppressor or the monolithic integral suppressor. Both attachments will silence your weapon, which is super important in Warzone, since you want to stay off the minimap when possible. But one is the muzzle and the other is a barrel. If you equip the monolithic integral suppressor, it actually blocks off the muzzle attachment, so you can't have a muzzle with that barrel. So now getting to the question. Which one should you use? The base ADS of the MP5 is 200 milliseconds. When adding on the monolithic suppressor, it increases it to 217 milliseconds, and the integral suppressor increases it to 221 milliseconds. So even though the monolithic suppressor is slightly faster, it's essentially a tie in the category of ADS because it's such a small negligible difference between the two at 4 milliseconds. You'll never even notice that, unless you're Superman or something. The recoil patterns are also just about the same. There's no real difference between them. Initially it jumps around a bit, then just goes vertical. As for the bullet velocity, it's about 10% faster with the monolithic integral suppressor. However, this is something you won't notice either. Generally, you should use the MP5 within about 20 meters or so. The difference in bullet velocity would only be noticeable if the target was around maybe 35 meters or 40 meters away, and you're not going to use the MP5 at that range anyways, so I would still say that these two attachments are neck and neck or equal up to this point. However, when it comes to the damage drop off at close range, now this is where I see a difference. It's a small difference, but it could decide who wins a gunfight in this rare situation. In close quarters with the default ammo, specifically between the range of 10.2 meters to 10.7 meters, the monolithic integral suppressor will kill in one shot less than the monolithic suppressor. So if the distance is less than 10.2 meters, it's going to take the same amount of shots, and if the distance is higher than 10.7 meters, it's also going to be the same. Obviously, we're ignoring the behavior at longer ranges, close to 40 meters or so, but it's just that 10.2 meters to 10.7 meter range where the monolithic integral suppressor gets this advantage. So this one specific pro of the monolithic integral suppressor is why you should pick this over the monolithic suppressor. Don't get me wrong though, neither option is bad and you can't go wrong with either one, but if you can make your gun even slightly better using the monolithic integral suppressor in that rare range of 10.2 meters to 10.7 meters, then you should absolutely use it, and that is why I run the monolithic integral suppressor instead. Next up, we have the ammo. You want to set this to the 45 round mags. The default mag has only 30 rounds in it, and that's not anywhere near enough for Warzone, especially for trios or quads where you got to break through armor, take down health, deal with multiple people, and on top of that, it seems like everyone has a self-revive now because they started giving them out in the ground loot. So all this combined in close quarters around multiple enemies, it's just a bad combo for a small mag, which is why I go with the 45 round mags. These mags will only slightly hurt your ADS and slightly decrease your movement speed by 1.4%, so it's not too bad. If you're playing solos or maybe even duos though, you could consider running the 30 round mags instead. Your fire rate will decrease and you'll lose some recoil control, but the big difference between these rounds versus the 9mm rounds is in the TTK near 20 meters. This is where you can see in the chart the TTK starts to jump up for the 45 round mags. But I know I've already said this a couple times now, you're usually not trying to pick people off from too far away with an SMG anyways. So maybe the extra ammo is more important than the faster TTK around 20 meters and beyond that come with the 30 round mags. The 30 round mag might even be better suited for multiplayer where you're usually not running overkill and just have one gun. You could even pair it with sleight of hand to make up for the smaller ammo capacity. But try both of them out and see what works best for you and the game type you're playing, because that will definitely help you determine which to use. Next up, we have the Underbarrel. You want to set this to the Merc foregrip. This will help with recoil control and increase your hipfire accuracy. You'll lose some aim walking movement speed, and your ADS will drop from the base speed to 217 milliseconds. But the hipfire increase along with the recoil control make it well worth it. Before, the Merc foregrip actually had a stealth buff that would secretly increase your movement speed by 3 to 4%, making it a no-brainer as an underbarrel. However, they fixed it and the stealth buff no longer exists. So, another great option you could consider is the Ranger foregrip. You take hits in aim walking movement speed again and an ADS as well, dropping it to 221 milliseconds, which is barely slower than the Merc, but the Ranger handles recoil better than the Merc foregrip. The con to this though is that you don't get the hipfire accuracy increase, and personally I hipfire a lot with the MP5, so that boost is more important to me. Also, one thing to keep in mind is the underbarrels will handle recoil differently based on the ammos you're using. So the Merc actually seems like it's better with controlling recoil when using the 10mm rounds, but the Ranger seems to do better with the 9mm rounds. Just something to keep in mind. For the laser, you want to set this to the 5mW laser. This further increases your hipfire accuracy, which is great, and it increases your sprint to fire speed from the base speed of 117 milliseconds to 108 milliseconds. Another option you could consider is the tac laser for faster ADS. The tac laser helps a lot with that, and the more attachments you have that slow the gun down, the stronger its effect, making the tac laser always a great option to consider. The only cons to these lasers is that they will be visible to enemies, but you can always hide them by not ADSing or ADSing depending on which one you're using. So based on the combo of attachments we have and what we're going to add at the end, the 5mW laser is better suited for this setup, because for the stock, you want to set this to the FTAC collapsible. This will improve your ADS from the base speed to 171 milliseconds and increase your movement speed by 2%. We're picking this attachment to make up for not picking the tac laser. The FTAC collapsible has the fastest ADS out of all the stocks. You do lose some aiming stability and some recoil control, but it's not a big deal. The iron sights of this gun are great. There's nothing really blocking your view, and you can track your targets pretty well. In my opinion, you don't need any type of optic on it, especially for close range. If you were to put one on though, you could try running a red dot if you really wanted one. But again, you really don't need an optic on this. So this is the best class setup for the MP5 to use in Warzone and in multiplayer. This is what I use and what I dominate with. However, you can change up the attachments a bit and still have this gun be a beast, because everyone has different preferences and different playstyles, so you can kit this to how you want it. For example, let's say you're already content with the ADS and don't care for what the FTAC collapsible does. You could drop that for sleight of hand instead. You'll have slower ADS but faster reload and better recoil. Or if you want even more ADS and you don't hipfire that much, you could rock a tac laser, but then you'll need to make up the sprint to fire speed somewhere else. So maybe add on the stippled grip tape for that, and you'll gain some ADS as well. Basically, what I'm trying to show you guys is that this gun is so good that you can play around with the attachments to fit your preference or your playstyle, and it'll still be amazing. Just make sure to balance out whatever losses you take with other attachments, and you'll still have an amazing MP5. My final thoughts on this gun, honestly I don't have much to say because the MP5 is just the best of the SMGs. It's been king and it probably will continue to be for a long time. It's used by the pros for a reason. You can never go wrong with this gun in close quarters. So that about wraps it up for this video. If this was helpful to you or you just enjoyed it, please smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Alright, well let's watch these doors. 2 down.
Ooh, I'm getting shot.
Ooh, somebody fell off.
Dead.
Nice.
Oh! I'm in the building. This would be so fucked right now. Nice. Oh!
That's the animation.
You got that.
Nice.
What?
Good job, good job.
He's like, hold up.
Okay, we're inside.
Anyone got another UAV?
He's down. He's dead. One went behind this wall.
I'm under fire!
Down.
Come on, dude.
Down! Fire!
Good.
Time out!
Down.
Both of them?
Right on top of me, right on my body. Literally.
Oh my body! Oh my body! Oh my god. Behind me. Behind me.
Come!
Yeah, they're going for the buy.
He's cracked. He's down. Here. down.
Bounty target is down. Well done.
Farah?
On the roof. Oh, the redneck guy's still peeking at you.
Good job, dude.
I hate fire shotgunners.
Nice.
Down. Dead.
God damn it.
Alright, stone. He's down. Down, stone.
They are one right behind or
Has entered the gulag. Surviving earnestly.
Broke armor. Another guy right there.
Another guy in the house.
No. Wait. Knocked one. I knocked one.
I'm dead.
Reload.
C4 me.
I died.
Locating the safe zone.
On one, he's thirsting me, bro. He's right on this left. You got one inside too.
Nice.
He's pushing in. He's pushing in the doorway.
Nice.
Nice, dude.
Hardpoint moving. Cargo contained. UAV is ready. Precision airstrike. Ready on your mark. Hardpoint secure. Got the sentry gun on station.
Keep going.
Got the hardpoint. UAV is ready. Cluster strike ready
Reloading.
for launch. Hardpoint launched. 10 seconds. Hardpoint contested. We've got some that location. Enemy's got the hardpoint. Hardpoint contested. And we have a personal radar drone. Hardpoint contested. Precision airstrike. Next hardpoint.
Right there.
Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint contested.
Send
We
it
have a
over.
personal radar drone. Hardpoint. Precision airstrike. Ready on your mark.
That's a kill. Under attack. Reloading.
Ready to move. We're halfway there.
Changing
Got a
mag.
UAV on station.
Target down. Reloading.
Cruise missile.